So I was talking to this guy and he was telling me, he goes, dude, one day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind and fire's going to start in the right place and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean, and there's not a thing we can do about it. We just get lucky. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA, and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it. Because these fires are so big, dude.
California is burning again, but this time it's different. More than 40,000 acres scorched, over 12,000 structures destroyed, and damage soaring past $250 billion. This is not just a disaster. It could be the most devastating wildfire in U.S. history. But how did it get this bad? How's the economy looking now, and what's in store for the future? How will this affect your favorite stocks? Today, we dive into the inferno to uncover the truth. Wildfires in California are nothing new. But did you know they're becoming more frequent and destructive? Since 2020, wildfire damages have exceeded $100 billion annually. This year alone, the economic loss is estimated to hit an unprecedented $250 to $275 billion. Think about that. Nearly 4% of California's GDP up in smoke. But why are these fires escalating? It's a perfect storm of climate change, prolonged drought, and hurricane-level Santa Ana winds, creating conditions ripe for disaster. First, let's talk about the drought. California is in the grip of one of its worst droughts in decades, leaving millions of acres of dry vegetation. A perfect tinderbox. Pair that with urban development pushing into natural habitats, and you have homes sitting directly in wildfire zones. The Santa Ana winds act as a blowtorch, spreading flames faster than firefighting efforts can keep up. It's a pattern we see worsening due to climate change. The emotional and financial toll is immeasurable. Over 153,000 people evacuated, many of whom may never return to their homes. The financial impact? Staggering. With high-value real estate in areas like Pacific Palisades and Malibu, losses from these fires could exceed $250 billion. Insurers are bracing for billions in claims. But here's the kicker. Many homeowners won't even be covered. In recent years, major insurers have stopped renewing policies in high-risk areas.
Talk more about this terrible insurance situation. We're bringing in Kaya Stanley, a CEO of the California Restaurant Mutual Benefit Corp and attorney. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us more about this. We're hearing about this catastrophic situation where these insurance companies have dropped fire coverage from thousands of policies in the years leading up to this. Is this even legal, and how did this happen?
These are for-profit insurance companies. And so if they can't make a profit, they're going to leave the area. And that's exactly what happened. And it's legal. They don't have to keep doing business in California. Is it ethical? No. I mean, I run a nonprofit insurance company, so we don't do things like this. But a traditional insurance company is in it to make money.
This leaves thousands relying on government-backed plans with limited coverage. This growing insurance gap isn't just a California problem. Experts warn it could drive up premiums worldwide, impacting countries like Australia already grappling with climate risks. The stock market is also feeling the heat. Let's hear what the media has to say.
Well, as we continue to cover the tragedy in Southern California, another crisis is underway, an insurance crisis. Major players like State Farm and Allstate have pulled back on writing insurance, leaving thousands of homeowners scrambling for alternatives. That's where California's state-run insurer of last resort, the FAIR Plan, comes in. But here's the problem. The FAIR Plan is woefully underfunded. It has about $700 million in reserves, but the Pacific Palisades fire alone represents a $6 billion liability. The math just isn't adding up, and California homeowners and taxpayers, as a result, may be on the hook.
Shares of major insurers like State Farm, Allstate, and Chubb have dropped significantly as they prepare for billions in wildfire-related claims. The SPDR S&P Insurance ETF is down 2.5%, signaling widespread investor concern. These losses are a wake-up call for the financial sector. Insurers and reinsurers alike are grappling with how to remain profitable while covering increasingly frequent natural disasters. And it's not just local. The global reinsurance market is under strain. Rising claims have driven reinsurance costs to 20-year highs, with ripple effects that could impact premiums worldwide. Before we continue, if you're finding this analysis insightful, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell. Just as California's wildfires continue to rage, the state rolled out a bold new regulation to address the growing insurance crisis. Effective this month, insurers are required to expand coverage in wildfire-prone areas, increasing their market share by 5% every 2 years until they cover at least 85% of the state. The catch? Insurers are now allowed to factor in the rising costs of reinsurance when calculating premiums for homeowners. This move, according to Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara, aims to stabilize the insurance market and ensure access for vulnerable communities. However, not everyone is convinced. Critics argue this policy could lead to rate hikes of up to 50%, leaving homeowners with even higher costs without guaranteed improvements in coverage. Meanwhile, for those who've already lost their private policies, California's FAIR plan has become the insurer of last resort. FAIR now insures $458 billion in property, including nearly $6 billion in Pacific Palisades alone. While it promises to pay claims, FAIR's reliance on recouping costs from private insurers means consumers ultimately foot the bill. This regulation is a double-edged sword. It increases access, but it also passes the financial burden onto homeowners, many of whom are already stretched thin. As California fights its way out of this insurance crisis, one question lingers: can the state truly balance affordability, accessibility, and profitability in the face of worsening climate risks? If current trends continue, wildfires could make California increasingly unlivable. But what can be done? Experts suggest systemic changes, including stricter building codes, climate-resilient materials, and better urban planning. One proposed solution is creating buffer zones around high-risk areas, clearing dry vegetation, and establishing controlled burns to manage fuel loads. States like Florida have successfully implemented these strategies to mitigate hurricane damage. California could take a page from their book. And let's not forget the importance of tackling climate change directly. Reducing emissions and transitioning to renewable energy are critical steps in preventing these disasters from becoming the new normal. The good news: communities are already taking action. Grassroots movements are pushing for stronger environmental protections, and innovative companies are developing new technologies to fight wildfires more effectively. The 2025 wildfires are a wake-up call. We need urgent action to address climate change, improve disaster preparedness, and rethink urban planning. But we also need your help. Support our channel by checking out our merch store, and let's keep these important conversations going. What steps do you think California should take to prevent future disasters? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't miss our latest video on investment myths debunked.